Okay, today is about applying those angle relationships. So we've got 5 angle relationships here. Corresponding, which means they're located in the same exact spot. Alternate interior, which means they're inside the 2 parallel lines, alternate of each other. Alternate exterior, they're outside the parallel lines, opposite of each other. Vertical angles directly across from each other, and then straight supplementary. They could be here and here. They could be like here and here. Okay. On our notes from Monday, and this is something you're gonna have to know because I'm not gonna tell you this on the quiz. This will stay up here for the quiz, but I will not tell you this part. Corresponding angles. What do you know about that? If this is 30, what is this? 30. Okay? Because corresponding angles are congruent. They're equal. Okay, what about alternate interior angles? They're congruent as well. So if this is 50, so is this. Alternate exterior angles. They're congruent as well. So this one, vertical angles, are congruent again. So the only one that's supplementary, the only one that adds to 180 are the straight angles. Okay? The straight angles, the linear angles, they're supplementary angles, they add to 180. All the other ones are congruent. Okay, so it says we can use our knowledge of the angles formed by parallel lines and transversals to find missing measurements. In the following examples, we'll write and solve an equation to find the missing information. So remember our steps for solving an equation. I always distribute and combine like terms. Then I put all my variables on one side of the equal sign. Then I isolate the variable and make it x by itself. Okay? So we're going to use those steps again. All right, so number 1 says Elm Street is parallel to Oak Street and Cedar Drive cuts diagonally across the 2 streets. Find the measure of each marked angle. Now, what I want you to do with these, I want you to always first decide what type of angles they gave you. So they gave you this angle and this angle. Would you say that those are corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, vertical, or supplementary? Supplementary. They're corresponding. They're corresponding because they're located in the same spot. This is located on the top. This is located on the top. So these are corresponding. So that's going to be what I write down first. Okay, that they're corresponding. And what do we know about corresponding angles? That they're what? They're congruent. They're equal. So they're congruent, equal. So everybody needs to write that down. I want everybody to put it on their paper. That's the first thing I always want you to do is decide what type of angles they are and if they're equal or 180. Okay? Now, since I know, Franklin, that these are corresponding, I know that these angles are equal. Therefore, I can make each of those equations, or I guess the expressions, equal. So that 9x plus 61 is going to be equal to that 3x plus 103. Because it tells me if they're corresponding, they're congruent, they're equal angles, they're equal measures. So that's what gets me my equation there. And then you have to remember how to solve an equation. Subtract plus or minus. Okay, so I look on each side, no parentheses, no like terms on the left. Look at the other side, no parentheses, no like terms. So then I move all my variables to one side. So I always move the smaller one, so I'm going to move this 3x over here. Since it's a positive 3x, I'm going to subtract the 3x, once from each side. So 3 minus 3 is gone. So that leaves me with 103 on that side. And then 9x minus 3x is 6x plus 61 equals 103. And then it's just a 2-step equation. I'm going to isolate that 6x by subtracting the 61. So that's 6x equals 42. Divide by 6. And x equals 7. Now, a lot of people are going to want to stop there and say, that's my answer. I'm done.
It's not the answer.
But it's not the answer because the question said, find the measure of each marked angle. So what do you think I'm going to do with that 7?
Add it to something.
We're going to plug it in for each of the angles. Okay? So what I'm going to do here is that 7, I'm going to take that 7 and I'm going to plug it in. I don't know why it's off up there, but it's not off up there. I'm going to plug it in for the X there. Yes. I only have to find 1. Yep. All right, so I'm going to do 3 times 7 plus 103. So that's 21 plus 103. So I get 124. And like Taryn said, since we know that the angles are corresponding, we know that they're congruent. So if that bottom one's 124, guess what the top one is? 124. Or if you're looking at your paper and Kate says, no, I want to plug my 7 in up here on this one. Well, 9 times 7, 63, and 63 plus 61 is still 124. So it doesn't matter. All right, let's look at number 2. I think this is the hardest one of the paper. Yeah, so, all right, so on number 2, it says the side view of a table is shown and the top of the table is parallel to the floor. Find the measure of each marked angle. So what I did is I redrew it first because I couldn't see it. So I know that the top and the floor are parallel. So I just redrew it like this because I know they're parallel. And then I noticed that both of these measures are on this line. So I just drew that one. And I put the 17x minus 9 right there and the 4x right there. Because I knew that they were on the same side there. But looking at that picture, it was hard to tell. But by taking this line out of the problem, I could see that they were both on the same side. So in that game kit that we played yesterday, they would call that same side interior, or they would call that remote interior. But you have to decide. We know that they're on the same side of the transversal, so that marks off these 2. It can't be alternate interior or alternate exterior because they're on the same side. So would you say that they're corresponding? They're located in the exact same spot? No. Would you say that they're vertical angles directly across from each other? No. So the only thing that leaves us with is straight supplementary. And straight supplementary means that if you take both of the angles and do what with them? Add them together, they equal 180. So these are going to be a straight supplementary angle. So I'm going to put supplementary, and I know that their sum is 180. So I know that I'm going to take both of those and add them together, and they equal 180. So that's 17x minus 9, and I'm going to add that to the other angle, so plus 4x, and they both equal 180. Sorry. Okay, so does everybody understand how I got that?
Yes.
All right, then once I know that they add together to be 180, then I just solve it. So I don't have any parentheses to distribute, but I do have some like terms that need to go together first. So 17x plus 4x, that's 21x minus 9 equals 180. And then it's just a 2-step from there. Get rid of the minus 9 by adding 9. So 21x equals 189. And then divide by 21. Now, a lot of people want to be like, I'm done.
You're not done.
But you're not.
No.
It says find the measure of each angle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that 9 and I'm going to plug it back in for both of the x's because they're different numbers because they're not congruent. Okay. So down here, this one, that's 4 times x, so 4 times 9, 36. So one of my angles is 36. Now, theoretically, you could do 180 minus 36 and get the other one. But 17 times 9 minus 9, you just use your calculator there, and I get 144.
Wait, why do we have 36?
Because you have two separate angles. You have a 4x, so 4 times 9, and then you have a 17x minus 9.
You know you add together
And when you add those together, that's a way to check yourself. Since you know that they're supplementary, you know that when you add them together, they should be 180. So 36 plus 144, that is 180. So that's kind of a check.
Can you just take a protractor and then measure it? Like,
No, because they're not on the scale completely.
Oh my God.
Okay. All right, we're gonna flip it over. All right. Okay, let's look at number 3. What type of angles is number 3?
no.
Supplementary again. If you look at them, see how they're on the same side of the transversal? Okay, they're both same side interior because they're between the two parallel lines. So that knocks out these two because they're not alternates. They're not in the exact location because if that was the case, this one, it would be here and here. Vertical, are they directly across from each other? No. So it's got to be straight supplementary again. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write up here supplementary, and I'm going to put equals 180. Okay? All right, I want you all to go ahead and set up your equation. It's just like number 2 was, whether you set it up and solve that for x. There's number 3 and then. All right, so we said that they equal 180, so when I add these together, they equal 180. All right, so combine your like terms, so 3x plus 10x, that's 13x, 7 plus 17, that's 24, equals 180. Subtract the 24, so that's 13x equals 156. Divide by 13, and what's x?
12.
12. Okay, now, once I got 12 there, that's not the answer. I mean, it says value of x is 12. But I still have to find the angle measures. So now I'm going to take that 12, and I'm going to plug it back in for both of the x's. So 3 times 12 plus 7, so that's 36 plus 7, which is 43. And then you could just do 180 minus 43 and get the other one. And the other one, 10 times 12 plus 17, that's 120 plus 17, which is 137. And when you add those together, they do equal 180. All right, let's look at number 5.
They don't give us enough money.
I know.
And look at all the empty space at the bottom.
I know. That's
I know, right?
Look at all.
Okay, let's look at number 5. Number 5, who can raise their hand and tell me what type of angles they are, Trevor? These are alternate interior angles. And I know that they're alternate interior angles because they're both inside the parallel lines and they're alternate opposite of each other. So what do we know about alternate interior angles?
They add up the same.
They're equal. So they're equal. All right, so I want you all to try this one. So both of those angles are equal. All right. Okay, so they're equal. So negative 8x plus 8 is equal to the negative 6x plus 20. All right, then I look, no parentheses, no like terms, no parentheses, no like terms. So let's move all my variables to the same side. I'll move the smaller one, so I'll move the negative 8x by adding 8x. So negative 8 plus 8 is 0, so that's 8 equals negative 6 plus 8, that's 2x plus 20. Subtract the 20.
I just took my pen away.
All right, we'll stop.
Yeah.
And then divide by 2, and we found that the value of x is negative 6. Now, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, how can you get a negative number for the degrees? You're technically not. That's just the x. You have to plug it back in. Okay? So now I'm going to take that negative 6, and I'm going to plug it in here. So negative 8 times negative 6 plus 8 plus 48 plus 8, which is 56. And then we know they're going to be equal, but if you're not sure, you can check it. So negative 6 times negative 6 plus 20, that's 36 plus 20, which is also 50. All right, I'm going to let you all do number 7. I'm not going to tell you what kind of angles they are. I want you to use the chart and figure it out. So ask yourself a question.
Wait, number 7.
Number 7. Are they interior or exterior? If they're both not interior or both not exterior, then you move on to either corresponding, vertical, or supplementary. 7. All right. What type of angles are number 7? Corresponding, which are located in the same spot. So they're not, one's exterior, one's interior, so they're not alternate interior, alternate exterior. They're not vertical across from each other. They're not on the same line. This one's up here in this corner. So the only thing that leaves us with is corresponding. They're located in the same spot, which means they're, so 15x minus 2 equals 11x plus 34. Subtract your 11x. So that's 4x minus 2 equals 34. Add the 2. So 4x equals 36. Divide by the 4. And we get 9. Get 9?
Yes.
Alright, and then you can go back and plug it in. So like here, 11 times 9 plus 34. That's 99 plus 34, which is 133. And they're congruent, so I know the other one's 133. And I'm done. All right, we're not going to do the other ones, but just a question. What type of angles are these? These are supplementary again, okay? Because they are on that same line here, and they're not alternate, and they're not located in the same spot. So they're in the same spot. This one would be right here. There. But they're not. So that one's a straight line, linear, supplementary. All right, what about this one? Alternate exterior. And this one?
Linear.
Supplementary, linear, straight line again. Because this one's right here. This is off on this side of the board. So right here, they're on that same straight line. Okay, yeah, there's no reason for me to go over and do a million of these. I'm going to go ahead and pass out the assignments.
I thought that was